Hey, buddy, welcome back to training video number 9 here in the Focused Achiever community. As always, excited to have you back with us here today. Yesterday, we talked about breaking and smacking down old beliefs, beliefs that don't support us in being all that we can be, beliefs that don't support us in achieving the direction and the thrust that we say that we're most committed to, creating a new trajectory for our family, for our children, for our loved ones by getting ourselves to create a new reference point of possibilities. Today, we're going to talk about how to make sure that that becomes a must in our life versus a should in our life. Now, people that create the great success in their life, the reason that they create the great success in their life is not because they were privileged to like learn something different. Sometimes that's the case. Many times that's not the case. They've just taken what average and ordinary people believe that they should do, and successful people turn it into a must do. It's not that I should go to the gym, I must go to the gym. It's not that I should eat healthy, I must eat healthy. It's not that I should do this, I must do that. When we begin to take what we should do and turn it into a must, that's when our whole life literally turns. That's when things radically transform. When I was raising my children, we had this what's called an incantation. And an incantation is something where your neurology and your physiology are interwoven with each other, like wham, and using words. And so the incantation we had with our children was, I'm strong, I'm powerful, and I'm confident. I'm responsible, and I can, I will, and I must. And then I had this one last bit that said, and I eat my spinach and I brush my teeth. And I'd crank up the music and I'd say it louder. And I'm strong, I'm powerful, I'm confident, I'm responsible, and I can, I will, and I must. I'd say louder. And we'd be on the trampoline, and just like we'd have the music in the yard playing, and we'd crank up the music, and I'd get them because I really wanted to anchor that in. I'm strong, I'm powerful, I'm confident, I'm responsible, and I can, I will, and I must. And so I believe that when we, take the shoulds of our life and turn it into the must of our life, like that's really, when people say, I raised my standards, raising our standards, when people say, well, what does that mean, raising your standards? Raising your standards is simply looking around in our life and saying, well, what are the things that, that I've just been saying I should do? I should write a book. I should go to the gym. I should eat healthy. I should make more money. I should get this project done. I should. Like, what would it mean if I could actually turn that into a must? As hard as that might be, what would that be if I could absolutely just like cement in and turn that into an absolute must in my life? People say, I can do it. I say, well, of course you can. It's not like you can't, right? So people say, I can do it. I can do it. I know you can. I'm not questioning. I'm not sitting around going, no, you can't. No, you can't. Of course you can't. The question is will you? All right? Will you or won't you? Like everybody can, but few will. Like you've heard me mention on training video number 1. Like everybody can, but few will. And the ones that do, it's not because they could, it's because they would. They would get themselves to follow through, take the actions that are necessary in order for them to transcend their life, whether that be personally, professionally, in the relationships, economically, whatever that is. And so I invite you to look and you go, well, I can, I will. Yeah, but is it a must? I mean, is it a drop dead absolute must? Robbins used to always tell me, he said, Brett, in life, you get what you must have. In life, you get what you must have. The amount of money that you must have is the amount of money you have. And in life, we get what we must have. The type of body you believe you must have is the body you believe is the body you have, the one that you believe is a must for you. And when you say, yeah, but I'd like to have this different body, then we've got to look at things different and then make that into a must, right? So the body we have now has been the must, and if we're going to transcend and go to new levels, then we must look at it in a different frame. The money that we have is the money that we must have. But if we're going to create a different level of abundance, a different level of wealth, then we must look at that in a new way, in a new and empowering way. So just think about for your own personal self, what are those things, or what is the predominant thing that you go, gosh, I've been saying I should do it, but what would it mean? Like, I want you to really look at that. Like, what would it mean for you to be able to take that thing that maybe you should for the last 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. I should quit drinking, I should quit smoking, and maybe that's been some conversation you've had now for a long time. Who knows? I should get rich, I should write that book. Like, what would it mean? I really want you to just kind of put some emphasis on what would that mean to you, what would that mean to your family, what would that mean to your loved ones and the people around you if you could actually get yourself to do that. And to turn things many times into a must, we've got to look like at what's the leverage point. What's the leverage point? Many times it's, when something is, we have such leverage against us. It's like, it's that whole thing. Somebody says, well, I can't do that. Yeah, but if a gun was to your head, could you do that? Like, honestly, bro, like, I know you can't, but if a gun was to your head, could you? Many times when we'll do a board break, and I was just watching this the other day, it was like, well, I'll have somebody do a board break, and sometimes they don't go through on their first attempt. And as a trainer in front of the room, in front of 200, 300, 400 people, you've got to have that person go through. Like, they've got to break through that board. I mean, it's not good on your brand if you have to let them off the stage back into the audience not breaking through. And sometimes that might be 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 times that they might go up against it, up against it, up against it without breaking through. On my side, I'm like, dude, it's a must, bro. They must break through. So whatever you're doing right now is not working, but they must break through in front of this live audience. And I remember the first time that ever happened where I was just kind of up against a situation where somebody was not going to break through in front of this live audience. I had to pull something from thin air. And I said to this person, I said, well, listen, they said, well, I just, they didn't have that power. And I said, do you have any children? They said, well, I have a 2-year-old child. I said, well, imagine you holding on to that child, and imagine walking down the street and somebody coming in snatching that child. Ready to break through the board? Are you ready? And they go, wham, and they break through. Why? It was a must. Like, it was a must for them to go, well, of course I'm going to break through right now. Like, what, am I not going to get my child? And for me, it was a must. So I would, pulled into the deep reservoirs of leverage to say, okay, well, let me give you this example. If that was the case in point, if that was the situation, could you actually get yourself to break through that board? And they break through the board because it's a must. They've got person has the child. Somebody says, again, well, yeah, but I'm just not a runner. Like, okay, so you're not a runner. Got it. So somebody comes, snatches your child. So like, what are you going to catch up with the kid 10, 12, 15 years down the road and say, dude, I'm really, really sorry. Your dad, I'm just not a runner, bro. Like, honestly, knuckles, fists, like, we still love each other, right? Like, I love you, like, but I'm sorry, I'm not a runner. Of course you're a runner because it's a must to get your child back. So what in your life right now could literally just be transformed, like transformed. Transformation is what we're most after right now, transformation. So not change. Let me just kind of shift into making transformation the must. Now, we only traditionally know how to language this thing called change. And people go, oh, I hate change, I hate change. But as a culture, that's not really what we're looking for. We're not really looking for that conversation of that. We're looking for, I just lost my train of thought on where I was going with that. We're looking for, I totally forgot my complete train of thought on that, on where I was going, but I'm not starting over because it's a must. And the one thing I do know, though, is that when things become a must, when things become an absolute must in our lives is when we break through. And if it's not a must in your life and you haven't declared a place of your life, like I must get rich, like being rich would, transform my family, it would transform legacies, it would transform, lifestyle, it would transform all of that. And to say, I must quit this over here. And to look and go, what's that really going to take? in order to, to break through that. Now, what I will say is that in order to do that, it's going to take an enormous amount. Like just like anything, it's like if we're going to, break through and get to that other side. And I know where I was heading, and I lost track of that. Is that transformation is what the direction I was heading. I've lost complete trend of thought. Is that transformation is what we're most after, and that we only know how to language it from change. Like I want to change my income, or change my relationships, or change my health, or change my diet, or change something of something. But that's not really what people want. They don't want to go from fat to kind of fat. They don't want to go from broke to kind of broke. They want to go from broke to rich. They want to go from fat to fit. And so that's really creating a transformation. And so when we make transformation the focal point and make transformation a must in our lives, like a real radical transformation. And what I mean by transformation is a transformation is about ending the trance to what was. So what was that. What was I was lazy. What was I was a pig. What was I didn't know how to get myself, moving in the right direction. What was all of these different elements. And we say, what if I could, just transform that into ending the trance to that over there, owning this is who I am here. When I went from 10,000 a check to 100,000 a check, that was a transformation. And so once I learned how to do transformation once, I recognized that transformation is now a possibility. And so what I wanted to invite you into is to begin to look at, not from the space of making change, but making transformation the main focal point. And to not making transformation the main focal point as it being a should, but making transformation the main focal point by making it a must. And think of the impact, think of the direction, think of all the different elements that you could create for yourself if you begin to make it a must. So as we close out training video 9 with here at the Focus Achiever Group, it's so exciting to be with you. And we're going to have one more additional video that's going to come here, and we'll have a next video placed out, video 10, to just close out and to really look at all the different elements. And so maybe you've been taking journal notes, maybe you've been just grabbing some ideas out of this. But in doing this, it's really about kind of just taking a deep breath and settling into this new vision, this new opportunity, this new possibility that you've invited yourself into. Like, this is something nobody put a gun to your head and said, here, you've got to be part of this group called the Focus Achiever Group. And, it's a group of people that are committed to doing awesome and amazing things. Like, you put yourself into this. So since you put yourself into this, let's play full out. Let's really give it our all. Let's really take those things that have been, just kind of piling up in the corner, in the dark recesses of your life, or dark recesses of, things that that you should be doing but are not doing, and let's turn those into an absolute must. So have yourself a great morning, great afternoon, great evening. Let's continue to do it. Remember, go into the community, make your declarations, be the example, break the, defy the odds, break the old broken down myths and beliefs of what's possible. And we're going to see you back to close out with training video 10. Bye, everybody.